Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
Tomorrow is opening day.
This morning, didn't have a great hunt. Deer didn't move like usual.
We just got set up in the middle of this bedding thicket. We've been saving this spot from the rut. It's a nice, I think it's a nice buck.
Boom! Hits a 170.
That was money. I think he's down right over there, maybe 10 yards.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy.
Baller rut.
All right, here we go. Second last breath episode on a Whitetail Legacy Wednesday.
Did you say you're on your second to last breath?
Yes, I'm on my
Nice.
second to last breath. Well, that was at ATA, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking about that on the
Yeah.
way here. I was like, dude, I don't know what it was, but
I don't know what we were talking about, but it was hilarious.
I
I'm
think
on
we
my
were thinking
last
of, like,
breath, bro.
Friday night. Oh, I'm on my last breath.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Oh,
sweet.
man,
You
yeah.
had to be there, I guess.
Yeah. So this episode we talk about ATA fun. We had a lot of fun with these boys. We got a little bit too much fun, I think. We talk about the Badland Film Festival. Huge shout out to them for having film in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. We talk about their launch party, and we talk about what tactics they're using right now to better their success coming the following 2019 season. We're going to get into our partners.
Before we do that,
Oh.
I want to bring up something that they bring up kind of off the get-go is, these guys are a team of 6, and they do hunt free-range deer, and they do have a normal working man job. And, their quality is above the industry standard, and they're not getting the credit that I feel like they deserve. And, they're doing it on free-range deer, and a lot of people are just paying to go to outfitters with subpar quality and getting a lot better hype about them when, they're putting in more work, they're putting in better quality, they're putting in more time, and trying to, manage the herd on their farms.
That's a really good point,
Yeah.
I mean, even like when I was hunting with Babe Winkleman, he goes, I wish I could hunt a deer and pick one out, but I can't do that because it doesn't create enough content for me.
Exactly.
When I heard that, I was like, that's something I never want to do.
Yep.
Just like you say, they're normal guys and they're still getting it done. And that's kind of like our trademark of this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Normal guys that are incredibly successful on giant whitetails year after year that very few people know about. These guys are in the hunting industry, but just like you said, they're not a giant name, but they should be. And once people figure them out,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be.
And
they deserve it, man.
they go into what you should be doing right now to help yourself this fall.
Yep. All right, let's get into our partners and get to the good content. Start with the title sponsor, the VIP Veteran Broadhead. Got a little new product coming out, the 175 grain Veteran. Ooh. It's like shooting a tank without tracks. It's like a tank airplane.
Yes.
That thing is gonna, like, if you could get the base of like a 90s Caprice with a national anthem playing, that's what that 175 grain is. You got to add a lot of bass to the national anthem when that
Yes.
thing shoots because it's
gonna
bringing
be
a lot
banging.
of power. Yeah,
Gonna be
bringing a lot of
banging.
power. Straight hitting the techno beats on that thing.
The main difference is it's a titanium body.
Yeah, titanium body.
Same grade as steel blades.
Yep.
Same mechanisms running it.
It's a titanium tip, all steel body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the 100 grain has a titanium tip.
Yeah.
Oh, steel body.
Yeah.
My fault.
Steel body. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tank, and I know the crossbow hunters are jacked about it.
Oh, I would be too.
Yeah, I mean, you're shooting to kinetic energy. Everybody's about kinetic energy, and with that kind of weight, I mean, you'll be able to blow through a shoulder like.
Yeah, you thought the 100 grain had penetration ability.
Yeah.
This thing right here,
And
there's no question.
the hardening capabilities of the steel, it's going to be indestructible. I mean, you're going to have to replace blades, and that's it. You're going to have that body forever.
Yeah.
So, pretty jacked to get our hands on those. We'll be able to get the first round of them and be able to do some testing and have some fun with that.
I hope to test a lot of it.
Yeah, yeah. So let's get into
the VIP Veteran Broadhead shout out.
Yeah.
This week is Hookset Brothers Combat Recovery. They're on Facebook. They are a 501c3 company founded by wounded veterans empowering veterans with combat-related PTSD by providing them free hunting and fishing trips throughout Texas, and everybody associated with that is 100% volunteered. So everybody associated with Hookset Brothers Combat Recovery, we all thank you. The VIP family thanks you, and Matt and Cindy thank you as well.
That's right. We appreciate that. Any organization that's out there helping veterans, we love to shout you guys out. So if you want to send in a VIP shout out as a organization or a company that helps veterans, we're more than happy to shout you out, just like every other VIP shout out.
Absolutely.
So Did
you say active duty too?
Yeah, active duty. Okay. Yep. It's good to let other veterans know there's opportunities out there for them, and also good for active duty people to know that there's availabilities to hunt maybe when they're on leave or something like that. We work with a lot of them doing shout outs, so we like to hear that. Let's do with ECW calls. You can, if you want to check out their calls, check them out on Ingram's out or
Embry Custom
Woodworkings. Yeah, getting them mixed up. Check them out, Embry Custom Woodworkings. We're gonna be at Elmwood with them when this releases, pretty dang close. So we're excited about that. Going to spend some days with him, trying to sell some products, show people how good these calls are, and handmade in America by a veteran. Can't get better than that.
Nope.
Why don't you cover ScentLock?
ScentLock. They're coming out with a sheet type deal that runs ozone over your bed. So I definitely know I'm going to be using that thing because, like, you take the pillowcase off my pillow, it's just yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, I get hot. The wife wants to buy new blankets, like, every 4 or 5 months. And we're, like, just to the point to where I'm, like, cooling off at night, getting it wore in. And then she's like, oh, yeah, we need a new bed set. And then it's hot again for the next 4 months.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a really cool idea. Your bed is something that you really can't clean, right?
No.
Like, you can't clean it, and this gives you the way to eliminate bacteria, eliminate odor, eliminate stuff that you really have no other way to do unless you're going to vacuum clean it or, like, shampoo clean it or whatever. But I feel like when you shampoo clean it, if you get it wet, it's never the same.
Well, like, it's just like a water heater. When you move your mattress in and then you move it out, it's like 3 times heavier.
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is, but it's just like that. You know, everything, all your dry skin and all that settles.
So hopefully with that ozone blanket, I'm excited about that, to try it out. And it's just something unique that they've come out with that we haven't really talked about. It's not really hunting related, but it's something that literally everybody can use.
Absolutely.
And it plugs into the wall. It can run on cycle mode. You can run it for the day, pack it up, and put it on a month later. And you can feel good when you lay down in your bed. You're like, okay,
right.
I'm bacteria free here. You know what I mean?
Smells clean.
Yeah, so that's going to be cool. Ingram's Outdoor Obsession. Check him out on Instagram, Facebook. Check out his new work. He's got my bow buck almost done, your bow buck really close. So some content to be coming out from that, and then this year's buck's getting real close too. So we're excited about that. Hope to be able to bring you a bunch of high quality pictures of that content and be able to share our successful harvests with you. All right, let's get into the content of Last Breath TV. All right, we're back with the Last Breath boys, Grant and Garrett, in studio again. We took a brief pause, and we're back at it. So we're going to start off this with ATA, man. How was ATA for you guys?
It was good. ATA is different for us than some people. I think there's like 3 to 4 types of people that go to ATA. You've got your business owners that are there to sell and promote their product. You have shop owners who are there to buy it. And then there's like 2 other people. There's people there who party, and then there are people like me and you who go there to make network connections, follow up, have face-to-face meetings with some influential people, so on and so forth. But overall, it was great. We had a lot of fun, specifically with you two.
Yeah, we had boatloads of fun. So,
yeah. So it was good. How was it for you guys?
It was a lot of fun. This was our first year, so we took it a little bit slower. I told homie, I said, we need to experience what it is, because I feel like when you have those meetings, you don't really get to experience the show, right? You don't get to go to a lot of the different booths and really feel it. And bad circumstance while we were there, one of the people that we were there with, VIP, he was sick, so we spent more time at the booth just helping out because he wasn't able to be there. He had to go to the emergency room and get some stuff figured out while we were there. So we took, that's important to us because we have made a connection with him. I mean, he's like our uncle. You know what I mean? He's a solid dude, right? Yep. So we were like, we're going to spend some time here. So we spent a lot of time at the booth, but we got to reach out. We got to go to the innovation zone.
Yep.
I feel like that's cool. People that are just trying to get their feet wet. And we met we had a podcast from guys there. That was good. They wanted to come on. We met a lot of people, and we got to see some new products, but we also checked out, like the Moultrie booth and some bows. Homie shot some bows. No one has left-handed bows at ATA, so I'm out. But and then we checked, we were going to be heavy in food plots this year, so we went to some food plot companies, and we had a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff to do there. I feel like the 3 days, if you just went to experience the show, right, you couldn't do it all. Like, to really go dig into each area, you couldn't do it. But we had a lot of fun, and it was a good experience. We're going to tackle it different next year, more like how you guys do. But I told homie, I said, this is our first year. Let's just go. Let's have some fun. Let's see what it's really about. And then next year we'll be able to go in and be like, okay, we've already done this.
Yep.
We're more comfortable. We've seen the face. It's like we walk by and we're like, oh, that's that guy. That he's with this. And we know, I feel like you need to know that kind of stuff to be successful, right?
Yep.
So we know, and now we know, okay, he's with this company, he's with this company, and that's what we did, right? And then we got to meet a lot of people that we podcast with, because a lot of people go there. We got to hang out with you guys, The Rise, Whitetail 365, a lot of people that were there.
Yep.
And,
Harvest Time.
Yeah, Harvest Time. Got to see them, but we had a lot of fun after hours. It was a good time. We actually had a guy from The Rise stay in our hotel room.
No kidding?
Yeah, and me and homie had to sleep in the same bed. Yeah.
You didn't sleep with him?
No, yeah.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Yeah, so I was like, you can have that bed. I was out in like 3 minutes. So
The guy who didn't even pay for the bed got a free bed to himself.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about the ATA show is, like, at the show, everybody is the professional, right? And like for us, we get to talk as a professional with these marketing directors and these people of power. But then after the doors close at the ATA show and you go out to some of these bars, if you will, I don't know if that's okay to say, but you go out to have a good time, and these people totally let their hair down. And that is where the relationships are made, man. So it's funny to see the straight-laced guy at the show, but then after hours, he's who he is.
Yeah.
And then the next day is even better because you're like, oh, man,
yeah,
how did you pour yourself out of bed this morning?
Yeah. Yeah, you guys were well put together the next day. I was like, man, these guys are feeling solid. At the night after the film festival, that's when we were like, the next morning, we were like, oh, my gosh, we can't do it.
Oh.
We can't do it. But that was the earliest we were there.
Could you imagine doing that like 2 months in a row?
Oh, dude, there's
like
no way.
The guys that go to the week-long show.
Oh, they go to like ATA and then SHOT and then Harrisburg and then NWTF. You'd wake up, your liver would be on your pillow next to you.
I don't really know what they do at all those shows. Like,
I mean, once you've seen the show,
it's Groundhog Day, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
it'd be brutal. That's for dang sure. So, but yeah, we had a ton of fun, especially hanging out with you guys. We got to we were there for a long time.
Oh my goodness!
And like it was. Who'd we message? We messaged someone, and they were like, "We're here," so we went straight there, and it was just. never ending enough then.
And then next thing you know, we're Wiped Out Legacy.
Yeah.
You wiped out.
Switch the name up to Wiped Out Legacy. That's our editing company that does all our work for us. Wiped Out Legacy. So
Solid guy.
yeah. Yeah, we did a post-episode ATA, and I was like, if you can ever get there with a company, just go and experience it as a person and have fun. And I think it was cool for us not to have to do the business side for 1 year.
Absolutely. The first year should be, it's like Disney World, right? You take it all in. And like, it is a private show, so not everybody can make it. But if you're somehow really connected to the industry, take advantage of some of your pro shops or some other people that are in your area that might be able to get you a pass, maybe just for the year, like you said. But for a civilian to be able to get into the show, it is truly a great time while you're there and then afterwards too.
Yeah, for sure. You get to see all the personalities or whatever, and homie's like, "Oh, that's that guy," and I'm like, "I don't even know who that is."
Right.
But he knew. So I mean, we practiced reaping turkeys right at ATA.
Yes.
So,
Well, good.
Yeah.
So you're gonna do it this year then, right?
Homie's going to.
All right.
So, but at the ATA, there's a Badland Films Festival, and we've talked about it on this show and kind of what our take was of it. And we shouted you guys out for having a film in there.
Yep.
And I honestly I like you guys a lot, right? But that film was super solid, right? I felt like the storyline basis and the deer shots, like the natural, what like guys like me are like, oh yeah, you guys nailed it, and you nailed it with a story. And me and homie were like, oh yeah, they got it. Like we thought you guys had it the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But me saying that now, you guys should be insanely proud to even have a film in there, right? Because that's a big stage.
Yep.
Like the people that are there are the biggest in the industry, right? And you guys were in it. And when so we knew like the Badland Films Festival, right? But we didn't know like the stance of it.
Right.
And when we got there, we were like, we've been to your film festival, right? We're like, holy this is their
Another level.
We're seeing people like, oh, that's that guy who does this, that's that guy who does, Heartland Bowhunter. That's that guy. We're seeing these guys that are like the big time, and we're like, you guys are right in there with them. So how was that feeling of you guys being on the Badlands screen, man?
So that's pretty cool. Good question. It was actually an odd time to get emailed, so I submitted our film, which is My Gang. It's a film. The Badlands Film Festival is actually live on YouTube now. So if you want to go check out on YouTube, it's the 2019 Badlands Film Festival. You can view it there. And if you're on YouTube, you might as well subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're there so you can check out all of our other great content. But My Gang was built to be a film that... So I think in my mind, the Badlands Film Festival, the recipient of the winning award has to take 3 categories in my mind. And I wanted to make a film that checked all 3 of the boxes. I think category number 1 is you have to have stellar trophy content. So the taking of high quality trophy animals, that's a big thing. Number 2, you have to play to an emotional side and give your film a personality that's going to distinguish himself or itself from the rest. And the third piece is the storyline. So I've seen a bunch of films in there before that have had 2 pieces, 2.5 pieces, but I really wanted to make something that had all 3. So when I got the email on Christmas Eve, actually, I sent it in about a month before. And on Christmas Eve, literally December 24th, when I got the email from the selection committee that we'd been selected. One of the 7 films that got shown out of 107 submissions. So to be there in the top 7 out of 107 was an extreme honor. But once we got there, It was pretty cool to see how our stuff lined up against all the rest. So I thought our whitetail content definitely owned the show. Like
Crushed it.
as I was sitting in the very beginning, watching like the pre-roll of the show and the stinger of the show, you'll notice
it was
that
every one of your guys' shots.
You'll notice
the
that
whole
if
entire pre-roll
if
was
you
your.
click the 2019 Badlands Film Festival, it's just like shot after shot after shot. I'm like, oh man, people are freaking out right now, and the crowd's erupting behind us. I'm like, yeah, man, this feels good. Because usually, like at our film festival that we host, it's like, you know, people are there to support us, and they're also there to get the content as well. But people that we have no idea exist and have no idea that we exist are up and erupting and getting out of their chair and hooving and hollering about our whitetails and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then to see our film drop, it was awesome to see it drop on that big screen and get the audience reaction, and to be able to send a message that, you know, hunting is about making memories with people. It's about getting out in the field and surrounding yourself with people that kind of see eye to eye with you and having a great time with those people. And that was the message of our film. And I thought we captured that well. And I thought the audience responded well to it. And if I had one take back of our whole film, I wish that because when they draw randomly for the order in which the films are played, I think if we would have been down
Later.
the list a
bottom
little bit
half.
later,
You guys were early.
down the list a little bit later, that, you know, would have been, because each film is about 10 minutes long. So if you got 7
It's hard to
films, that's
remember,
about an
yeah.
hour and some change. So so I feel like if we would have been down the list a little longer, that maybe we could have made the podium. So we ended up 5th out of, like I said, the 107 submissions. So that was a great honor in itself, and just to spread our brand awareness and show all of our, you know, show all of our hunts, show all of our personalities, show how we're kind of interconnected. And then the crazy part was, so the following day after, so a new award this year was being given called the Pope and Young Award. And that was the Pope and Young Selection Committee got to give an award to their choice on whoever they thought was deemed worthy of what Pope and Young stood for. So later to come to find out that the person that won that trophy and ours, they flipped a coin to see who got the trophy. So
Wow.
Unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the 50-50 stick, but
Wow.
there's a lot of really solid films in there. And to say, because I know all the other filmmakers that submitted a film, and to my knowledge, at least, Garrett and I and our company's film are the only film in there that do not do the quote unquote outdoor industry full time. So we're the only people that have,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
jobs outside of the outdoor industry that aren't able to go and get
It was
content
huge for you guys. I mean,
Wow.
all the time and be, you know, immersed in hunting all the
Yeah.
time, you know, to go to a 8 to 5, 9 to 5, 7 to 3 job every day and then go get it done on top of that. That's what I hang my hat on, because I feel like, you know, sometimes when you talk to people, they don't necessarily realize that, you know, we're filming each other. We get half the opportunities. We have twice as much scent, twice as much movement, and we are still able to get it done. And that's something that I not so much say to brag, but something I'm like, man, I feel like we're doing something right here. So I really like to see our film compete with some of the big dogs in the industry and hold its own and get the audience response like that was pretty cool for me.
I think it was awesome that so almost everybody in there that was in that category, right, had a production company edit and film their stuff. Most of them, right? Yep. And I was sitting there with homie, and we knew it, right? Because we know you guys.
Yep.
But like, they're thinking a production company for editing their stuff, and we're like, man, these guys did it all. They're literally exactly like me, and they're up there, and they're all one. You got filming each other. You're not hiring that out. You're not hiring your editing out. You're doing that in house as a team. That is huge. I mean, and we know you guys, but when more people hear that, they're gonna be like, you need to watch Last Breath, right? Because if you could compete with people that are doing it full time, and you guys are doing what we're normally doing, that's what our podcast is based around, right? Guys like you that are super successful and are normal guys that are in the outdoor industry. And you're like the nutshell of that. And then you're up against people that are running $30,000 reds and going
Amen,
on
man.
Kodiak bear hunts that cost
That's just
$50,000,
The
right?
insane competition. They're like,
It's
you're
insane.
These people, these filmmakers, here's where we knew where we were at because we got VIP access. So we felt like big swingers. We walk up and the guy lets us in the VIP door. And we get up there and we're like, in flannel and nice jeans. And there's like these guys in full suits up here at this bar. They're like, we're drinking. The only thing they had at our bar was like 25-ounce beers of beer. Everybody else is like cocktails. Like, man, we are in a different tax bracket up here, And we're playing pool and we're kind of like in our own little inner world. And these guys are just, and good for them. They've been able to do that. But if you were to look at production value at the hunt costs, it would be staggering. I mean, you hit it on the head.
Ridiculous.
These films that were submitted that we were competing with had more money invested in a body of a single camera than we had in our entire film.
Yeah.
I mean, a Kodiak bear hunt, that's $25,000.
Yeah.
Just for the opportunity to go there, let alone how much money you paid a full-time production house with a 6K camera
That's what I
and
was saying.
$100,000 worth of lenses to follow you around.
$50,000 is probably what it cost them to film it. You know what I mean?
And and then an Alaskan moose hunt, and then all these other things that are up there, and they're phenomenal, right? They're things that we
epic.
dream about that we never probably be able to do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That are unrealistic, and then it's a phenomenal event. But I wonder, and we talked to Blake, granted, about how do you level the playing field, because it's going to be a rich man's game, or you're going to have a incredibly very, very bad circumstance, some type of disease to win it, and it's like you got to have the heart cords or you got to have the money.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean, we're proud as punch to be there.
Oh
so.
yeah, I'm not trying to take away any of the films, whether they had $50,000.
No, they were awesome.
They were epic,
Phenomenal.
right? But just like you said, the Badlands Film Festival is emotion. It's emotional, right? It's all off emotion, and I think you guys literally nailed as much emotion that you guys could in a film, right? You brought it back to the very beginnings of hunting, like why you guys do it, the friendship, what it's really about for guys like us.
Yep.
But when you're competing against people that are running that kind of quality or that kind of cost and production, or they have such a compelling story that someone can't look away, you almost can't win in that environment, and it's almost a win being in it, right?
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
a win, right? That's a win because what you're up against, just like you said, is astronomical of what you guys are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we think you guys are epic, and for you guys to pull off what you did with your equipment compared to what they did, if you guys showed me the shot of like you with Geronimo in the snow and the blood shot, and then you showed me that Kodiak bear hunt, same camera, you can't tell, right?
Right.
Sure.
But I mean, you guys might because you're more experienced, but I can't, right? So for you guys to pull that off is epic, And I didn't really get. I guess until I watched that story, I didn't know you were like, no, wait, I got to get more footage. Of him.
My God!
I'm like, I was watching. I'm like, oh my gosh, if I was him, I'd be like, I got to shoot him right now.
Yep.
No more. You know what I mean?
Man.
So props to you guys for putting in the work to get that footage, and then to be able to. I feel like that is a big dog game, right?
Oh yeah.
And not to put yourself down, but you're like us. You're really good at what you do, but you're a normal guy, right?
Blue
And
collar,
you were in a big dog world, and you guys succeeded in it. And when the intro is respectfully 75% of your guys' stuff, like when me and homie were watching, I'm like, oh, that's Last Breath. Oh, that's Last Breath. I'm like, oh, these guys got it. I mean,
Yep.
the intro is all your guys' stuff, and the crowd's just going insane, right?
Yep.
The
Like you said.
energy's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And we hope to bring some of that to your guys' launch party this year. And I don't know how crazy we can get there, but we were talking about that. I'm like, man, the Last Breath or the Badlands energy is different than, like, we were trying to, stay kind of low-key at yours, but I want to bring that energy to your guys.
Yell and holler.
Yeah. So
Get rowdy, man.
I think this is a good transition to go into your guys'
Absolutely.
launch party, and we are going to try to bring literally as many people as we can, and we're going to, if it's all right with you guys, we're going to try to bring that Badlands energy where if another guy down the roll, 3 people is like, I want to yell right now. If they see me yelling, they're going to be like, okay, that guy's doing it. So I can, you know what I mean?
Let her rip.
That's what me and homie were talking about. We're like, we need to bring that because it's deserving, right? It's the same footage that was there.
Yep.
But there it's like you said, it's a relaxed environment. It's different.
Right.
So I think there we're gonna cut loose if it's okay with your guys.
Absolutely. Like, so we'll get into the Last Breath launch party. This is our 3rd annual one. We host it at the Orpheum Theater in Galesburg, and this is really kind of like the culmination of our season previously. Grant has the time, and he's got the arduous task of editing our season underway. And this is completely 100% free. We give out an exclusive 800 tickets. Maximum capacity is 1,000. So we don't want to have everybody be elbow to elbow. If you grab a ticket, you better come. We give out free beer, a ton of free gear, and we give the fans the opportunity to actually vote on what they want to see.
It's epic. Yeah.
So, we usually average about 600 people, which is a heck of a good crowd for Galesburg, Illinois. But if you haven't been, you should go. The energy is phenomenal, and if you guys bring the energy that I think you are, it's going to be even better. And it really is. It's the icing on the cake after a hard task of being done. We can't thank anybody that helps us and everybody that helps us, our sponsors, and the Orpheum Theater. Grant puts all the work into it, but June 21st is the date to remember.
June 21st.
And
we're going to jot that down on the chalkboard.
We will make sure
right
to let everyone know. This year's going to be, we've got some really cool things. You want to talk about some of the new things that we're doing this year?
Sure. So, just like Garrett said, want to reiterate, it is 100% free. Last year we brought 30 racks for our guests.
I didn't
do the math.
Check them out. I
do the math. That's about 1,200
like,
beers.
Yeah.
So that's quite a few beers. And it's all for free. Last year we gave out about, we figured it up to be about $15,000 worth of gear. So we gave away about 2 sets of camo, 10 trail cameras, about 40 or 50 packs of broadheads, a bunch of knives, 2 coolers, and the list goes on. So you're going to want to be there for the free gear and the free beer, let alone the footage.
Experience.
So the experience, you're going to be packed in into a theater full of a bunch of people that love hunting just like we do, and it's a good atmosphere. It's a good time, and you get to see our content before anybody else gets to see our content, which I feel like is pretty cool. It's an exclusive event, but it's free, and we want to do something that shows, we want to give back to the people that have faith in us and continue to stick by us and to support us, because without them it's hard to grow a brand. You
Absolutely.
need an audience to grow a brand. So that's our event that we do every year. It's in Galesburg, Illinois, just like Garrett said, on June 21st, and we want to give it back. Looking forward to this year's show. The thing that we're doing a little bit differently is we're going to show more films than ever before. So we're going to show a bonus film. Yep, we're going to show a bonus film at the beginning and end of the show. And this year we have a really, really nice photo screen that we're having made to do a couple giveaways that way. And we're going to restructure the way our giveaway system works this year. So that way there's a lot more prizes given away a lot quicker to keep the pace kind of tempo of the event flowing. And it's going to be growing every year. We have a lot more people that are interested this year in coming, and hopefully we can pack the house again for a 3rd straight year in a row. It's been a really successful and really cool event for us. We, Garrett and I, about 5 years ago was our first ATA show. So we went to the Badlands Film Festival and we thought, man, it would be really cool to do this for our fans. How can we do it? So the people at the Orpheum Theater in Galesburg, we work with them, and we figured out how to put it on, get the backing to do it, get the free beer, gear, and the funds to cover the event. And it's an awesome event, and it's on a Friday, which doesn't conflict with anybody's work schedule, and it's late enough in June to where none of the graduations, nothing's going on. It's not going to conflict with a holiday 4th of July weekend. So if you love seeing big whitetails get killed, this is kind of like the preview, I think. So every year people can visit our website and vote on the top 3 favorite episodes that they want to see featured at the show.
Always whitetails.
So
Every year.
it's always our
Every year.
whitetails every year. And this year we did, I think this year is probably our easily tied or probably our second best year of whitetails of the last 5 or 6 years that we've been really putting this stuff together. So it's going to be a really good year, and you're going to see a lot of really good stories get told at that event.
Another thing we should talk about too, and you guys have a taxidermist which does phenomenal work, and so do we. But we're gonna have a mini deer show. We had a promotion with our taxidermist that we co-branded with them, and we're gonna have like 15 to 20 deer mounts on display from both team members and local people who harvest them. So it's gonna be a little bit of everything. I mean, so right when you walk in, you're gonna get bombarded with fresh harvest from this year in the local area. See what your co-hunters in the Midwest, Central Illinois are harvesting. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
It's gonna be epic. Yeah, I got a buddy Jake Reffett who
Yes.
has a giant white 8 that he took there.
Yep.
And he's really jacked for it to be there. So I'm excited for him. And I was like, man, that is a really solid idea to be able to get. You know, everybody loves seeing giant deer, right? And to be able to see those mounts there, and for the people that have them mounted to be able to see them the first time
And
there,
pick 'em up.
that's going to be awesome.
Well, and
So,
like Grant said, we're giving them back. Like Jake, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna feel like a freaking
Yeah.
stud because
Oh,
his
yeah.
buck's there, and he's gonna
Heck
have
yeah.
5, 6, 700 people see it.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool. You know,
It
I
is
mean,
cool,
giving
man.
it back, not just the event, but that feeling and that sense of of awe, right? I mean, this is my buck. Think if Mr. Freeze was on display for 800 people,
That'd be
right?
sick.
That are your peers
Yeah.
that you're gonna run into at Walmart. Man, I saw your buck, and he's a stud.
Yeah.
You know. So it's we're just trying to always evolve and make it better and better for the people who are sitting in the seats.
yeah. Shout out to you guys. I got a Moultrie hat that I wore for like. I
Wore
don't
it
know.
out.
I wore it forever. I still got it. I still wear it. I got so many free hats at ATA. I'm like transitioning, but
Yeah.
homie actually bought a Moultrie hat because
I
he
did.
wanted to be as cool as me.
I did.
and catch a free one. And then I got some NAP fletchings. I got a T-shirt.
Yeah.
And I got a Summit Lineman's belt, which is a freaking the best thing I got. That thing is a lifesaver hanging stands.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
That
Whip it
Summit-
around,
Yeah.
tie it on.
And he used it today. I was like, bro, you got to get one. And he ended up buying one. I'm like, and I got that from you guys. So, yeah, shout out to you guys. I mean, you give away a ton of stuff. Like, we heard about it. And how did we hear? We heard about it through Jake Reffett, I think. He was like, I know you guys are running this podcast, so you guys should probably go. And that was like our first connection with you guys, right?
Sure. Yep.
And we basically hung behind, and just the kind of people we are, we want to thank you guys for putting on that event because we know the amount of work and cost and time. And for guys like us that are obsessed with whitetails, there's nothing like that around us.
Right.
You guys are it. That's the only people that do it. So we want to hang around and be like, man, we want to be friends with you guys. We want to help you guys out. We want to go to this every year because me and homie were like, man, it's over. Like, we didn't want it to be over, you know. I'm like, how many films they got? Like 9? Because I'm ready to go all night, you know.
That was the foundation of our friendship. That day.
It was. That day was the foundation. And then that you made the connection with homie, like, you know,
we used
and
to
it started
run
from
against
there.
each other
Yeah,
in track.
It started from there. So, I mean, without you having the film festival, we might have never met.
Yep.
So shout out to you guys for having that. We know the amount of work that goes into that, and we are honestly grateful that you do it for us, right? We feel like you do it for us, your fans. We're your fans, and we get to go to that. We get to sit back, drink free beer, chance to win stuff that, expensive stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we get to watch incredible whitetail footage before anybody else gets to see it, you know?
Yep.
And like I said, we hope to bring that enthusiasm that we had and when we were sitting in those chairs and being real quiet because we didn't know you guys. We hope to bring that, like, oh, yeah, that's my buddy. That's my buddy that just shot that deer right there. You know, that's what we hope to bring it as this year, and that's what we really want to try to do. We've been inviting, like, a lot of people that we know that are hardcore hunters.
So what we'll do, we'll get you guys a book of tickets.
Yeah.
And then, because they're free, but they're exclusive, right? Because we can't give out 1,500 tickets for a venue that holds 1,200. You know what I mean? So if you hand them out, then just hit us up for more. But
Okay.
we'll make sure and get them to you. Typically, we start giving tickets out about a month before, because if we give them out right now, then they get lost.
Yeah.
If we give them out too late, then it's late notice. So
Yeah.
that sweet spot about a month is when they'll start.
We still got
getting
them
past
last
that.
breath koozies too, bro.
Oh, you'll have fresh ones
Yeah.
this year, brand new ones.
I'm going to compare my 2 koozies. So I'm going to get this one this year and
Okay.
use it all year and then compare the durability.
Oh, great. I'm going to make yours out of Kevlar. I'm going
See
to
if I
give
can
it to
drink it
you
more or
personally.
less.
Give you a bulletproof koozie.
You already seen I was using it in November.
Yep,
So
yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we still got those. Mine's on my microwave right by my door just in case I need a fresh one. I got a whole tub of them up there on top of that mini fridge right there. That's just junk shit. And now the good one's laying on the microwave ready to roll at any moment. So
are you guys accepting 95 inches into the deer mount display?
Well, we are, but it has to be with precision.
Oh,
That's the
man.
tie-in, right?
Man.
I would love to adorn
I'm
your
telling you, it's going to be the
95
only 95 incher that blows people's mind.
inch. Just 2 40-inch spikes.
Yes.
Sweet.
Giant.
all right, so we went over the fun side of you guys, and you guys are stone cold killers when it comes to killing whitetails. We know that. You can't deny it. It's on film year after year after year. You guys are all getting it done, the whole crew. So we're going to dive into the tactics of right now, what you guys are doing to be as successful as you are. So let's start off with, what are your goals for your properties as of right now? What are you guys looking to do to make your 2019 season better?
So this is a great question, and the number one thing that Garrett and I have done in the off season is honestly a lot of paperwork. So our number one farm, our heavy hitter, we have a really good situation going on, but to be honest, we have lacked control of that farm for the last 6 years that we've hunted it. So we've been pretty successful over the last 5-6 years that we've been out there. Garrett's killed 2 deer 170 or better. I've killed a deer in the mid 60s, and we've killed about 7 bucks in the 150s out there. It's just a dynamite farm, and the thing that we transitioned to this year is being able to physically put a pen to paper and lease it out and gain full control. So this year we're going to be concentrating heavily on food plotting, on bedding areas, and specifically the stages in which deer are using our food plots. So we have a good mid-season plot that we're going to put in and a good late-season plot that we're going to put in hopes that this could be our best year ever on an already dynamite farm. And one of the other key areas that we're going to try to tackle this year on that farm is the bedding, in addition to a couple of the other pieces that we already hunt.
Yeah, and like Grant said, we have a unique opportunity. Not everybody has a financial ability to lease a farm, and that's what he's referring to. The opportunity arose where the landowners actually approached us for a more solid agreement. So some solidification to more than just a handshake. Hunting on a handshake is great, right? It's honorable, and usually it costs you nothing other than to stick a summer sausage.
Yep, and that's 90% of the properties that we hunt. So
That's
how
right.
could we complain, right?
So, but when you have the ability to lease it, and your landowner understands that with this binding agreement, you have some freedoms that you didn't used to, it gives the hunter an ability to alter that farm in a way that's okay by the landowner, but also enhances your hunting. And so Grant was saying a couple different things that we're going to do. We are going to implement food, and we're going to implement bedding. So those are 2 big things that we base our entire hunting strategy around. The biggest one is where that deer sleeps at night and calls home, and then the next one is where he's feeding and his stomach is going to take him. Because realistically, there's about 3.5 weeks out of the year where they're thinking, I guess, unlogically, and that's the rut, right? Last week of October, first 2 weeks of November, maybe a little bit longer. But really, if you look at that as a majority of the season, you've got the fronts and the tails that takes up a majority of the time of your deer season. We want to focus on that. Rut hunting is phenomenal and it's incredible, but I can't really affect much of my property that's going to do that. We can do some funnels, we can do some transition zones and some other things, but Grant was talking about we'll hit diversity of food plots. there is a wide variety of stuff that you can plant and that you can sow into your ground that will hopefully pull deer in. Well, there are so many factors, and the first one is seed. Looking at understanding when it's most palatable to a deer and when it's going to be nutritionally beneficial to that deer. So greens, you look at alfalfa, or you look at types of clover and chicory. Those are really going to be very palatable in the early season, especially fresh shoots if you have the ability to mow it and cut it. So we are actually going to be implementing what we call kill plots. We have 2 different areas on our farm that are adjacent to bedding areas where we know that deer bed there. South-facing slopes, warm bedding season grasses, and so on and so forth. We went in and we've altered these areas right now because now is the best time to do your timber work, your TSI. Timber's clear, it's not hot, and typically your trees are going to cut or move a lot easier if the ground's not frozen. So by planting these small kill plots, these areas where deer are going to concentrate, these areas are next to bedding areas and also in close proximity to a destination field where they're going to feed, where these deer are going to stage and kind of hang up right before they move on from their bedding to their evening activities. We're doing mixtures with, like I said, clover and chicory. Both of these take little to no fertilizer. They actually fix nitrogen. They're legumes, so a little bit of lime to increase the nutrients uptake. Lime, pelletized lime, if you put on the appropriate amount, will last 2 to 3 years. So it's not something you have to do to upkeep. But once you establish that nice dense clover bed, it's almost maintenance free as long as you have good browsing. We're doing that. And then looking at late season food too, it's one thing we realized this year, because we put in a lot of effort into late season food, is that you have to have the bedding in conjunction to late season food. If you have 5 acres of standing beans in the middle of a cornfield or a middle of a bean field that's 1,000 yards away from bedding, you're never going to be able to kill a deer that you want to during daylight. It has to be close enough to their bedding area that you're going to pull them in there during shooting hours. Now, I'm not saying that you can have an external food plot that's late season of standing corn or of soybeans that's going to have a high tonnage and high protein factor. You're going to have deer feeding in there, but is it going to be when you want to kill them? So when we look at these farms and these goals right now, it's seeing more deer versus killing more deer, and that's holding more deer versus harvesting more deer. There's different things you have to look at in your management strategy. So I guess right now, this farm that we're looking at, we're not doing any major TSI work. We're not doing clear cuts or hinge cutting. We're dabbling first, right? But we're making these small clover kill plots in conjunction to bedding areas and late season food sources, which now we have the ability to implement, right? So we have access to the farm. We're gonna have 2 to 3 acres of monocrop agriculture. We're talking standing corn, standing beans that are going to be our late season ace in the back pocket for December, January. But we're also going to be hunt these same target bucks in October, November over these kill plots that we have conjunction to these grasses, these areas, these bedding areas that we know are established because we've hunted the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So is everything you're talking about right now on just the one farm?
We have multiple farms, but this the one farm we call, it's our bread and butter. This is our main goal because it's the pivotal year, right? We finally have, quote unquote, the keys to the farm. As long as we stay within the restrictions that the landowner has given us, which we will, we have the ability to manipulate a majority of the stuff that beforehand we didn't, just out of respect. It wasn't our ground. We didn't have any type of monetary exchange, and we never really wanted to have that conversation until now. So we're fine to go ahead and proceed.
So now you're going to have like more of a formal document?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And then the second thing is there already bedding that you guys have established where the deer are bedding on this property in order to have success in the late season?
Both, I would say, to answer your question, both
Okay.
in the terms that there is bedding, but we're also purposely trying to establish some bedding areas. Cave in the Rock switchgrass is by far my hands-down favorite. It takes a really, really good hardy stand. You can buy plugs of it, which I recommend them rather than broadcast seeding. You're giving yourself an advantage. And it does really well with snow. It does really well with perennial regrowth. And it's not going to be so tall that you can't, bedding areas, right? That's where we look for sheds. So I want a grass. It's easier for me and the deer to walk through. It's going to offer them really good cover, but is only going to get about 6, 7, maybe some shoots are reaching 8 feet tall. Because come late season now, that's matted down to 4 or 5 feet. I can walk through there or go through there with an ATV, hopefully pick up that deer shed I want to.
Yeah, for sure. I think it was cool that you said, seeing deer versus harvesting deer, and I think those kill plots are going to come in huge because a lot of the mature deer don't like to go to that destination food source that you might be hunting over in daylight. They want to go to that kill plot, that hidden little piece that they feel secured in daylight. So that's kind of what I did at my piece a couple years ago, and I had really good success with mature deer going there. But I realized that the access was wrong for me. But before I started hunting they were there, right? So they felt secure in that kind of like a wooded sanctuary area that you created,
right? Instead
of going out into that main field where they feel less secure. They're out in the open where potential danger is. If there's a new clover field in their general area where they feel safe, they're going to go to it. So I think it's cool that you said seeing deer versus harvesting deer, because I feel like some people create a destination food field and it's 5-6 acres, and they see the deer and he's 200 yards, but they don't kill the deer.
Correct.
And that's one thing me and homie talk about all the time. Like, is this a stand that we can see deer in, or is this a stand that we can kill deer in?
Yeah.
And we have some that we know, like the Moultrie set. Mm-hmm. That is a see deer stand.
Observatory.
It is a see deer stand. I told him, I said, this is a stand where you are limited on time. You are running late in the morning. This is a stand that you go to, right? This is a stand where it's hot, might not be the best conditions. You go to, and that's why I feel like on those kill plots, do you plan on hunting them early, or do you plan on hunting them in early but better whitetail conditions?
We do a lot of our hunting based on scouting and camera activity. To tell you that it's going to be one of their, it's going to be indicative on the deer that we're trying to kill. There are a lot of factors that come into play when we go to try and kill it. But I will say this, the more you can limit your exposure and your pressure, even though it's your favorite stand, it's your favorite food plot, wait to hunt it until the conditions are right, with wind, with barometric pressure, moon phases, whatever you want to follow. The best time you usually hunt a stand is the first time. So I would say that if I was going to give you a general basis of when I foresee Grant and I sitting over these kill plots, it's going to be around that October 16th to 20th, right before people really start getting fired up about the rut, but where I have these kill plots set in place where these mock scrapes have already been positioned, and I'm waiting for that buck to slip up due to a cold front or a pressure change that's going to get him on his feet in daylight.
You're going to come check that scrape in daylight.
Yep. Right.
You're
where
be
he feels
there.
safe in the secluded plot where he knows his does are going out into the field. That's when we're going to go in and try to get him.
Yeah, I like that tactic a lot. Like the plot of my piece, it was perfect for that, but the way I access it, I realized that it actually hurt me because I was busting deer off of that when I was
that
going.
You're talking about access right now.
Oh yeah, that ask homie, dude. That's the number one key to whitetail hunting. I think people could talk tactics time and stand is number one key. That's what I think, and then access.
Yep.
And I have some American Gladiator accesses to my stand.
You're ziplining in from
homie,
the neighbor.
Yeah, there's people shooting at you and stuff. It's intense. Homie's like,
we're gonna airdrop in from 4,200 feet, latitude 43.0019, longitude 97 point. Yeah.
I'm a pretty fit guy, and it was rough getting in there.
Really?
Yeah, it was.
But it's the right way.
It's definitely the right way.
And I got into that stand and had small bucks feeding on acorns 80 yards away. When I got in there, I'm like, oh, crap, there's deer right here feeding.
Right.
And I'm in the stand.
That's how you know you did it right.
Yeah.
We both got in there, and there was deer bedded 50 yards and never bumped them. And then they come into 12 yards.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And just hung out.
Yeah. Just feeding. I'm like, oh, God.
So
right
Grant,
here.
Yeah, Grant can talk. Access. We'll change into that. So talking about relevant time of the year. This time of the year, Grant and I spend a lot of time in the timber because of two reasons. A, you can get away with it. You're not worried about bumping deer, pressuring deer. You're looking for antlers. You're looking for deer beds and other things, and you don't have a guilty conscience. But the other thing is, the timber is naked right now, and now you get a sense if you see a bed take a second to go over there and sit down and or squat down and process what they're seeing. And that, talking about access, opens your eyes. Because a deer's going to, now in early October and November, it's maybe there's a little more fauna and foliage, but still they're going to pick up on movement like that. So understand what they're seeing from where they're laying, and then understand how to get to your stand without that happening. I mean,
it's key, man.
It is. Grant and I are carving a lane this year to the kill plot. I mean, it's going to take a lot of work and some sweat equity, but it'll be all worth it.
My 2017 bow buck, right? You're the date guy. That was 2017, the early October.
Come on, Rain
one.
Man.
Homeboy?
No, it was 2000. Yeah, the Big 9. That's at Ingram still.
Oh, yeah. That's
So I found a bed shed hunting, and I suspected there to be a bed there, right? And the year before, and I went in there and I found this bed. There's giant rubs and stuff. I'm like, okay, this is it, right? And I did exactly what you did. I sat down and I'm like, okay, early October, what can I see? And I was like, man, I'm right on the edge of what I can see and what I can't see, right? So I told homie, I said, I got this stand, and if you go to it, you're sweating because you're like, it's deep, right? It's like you're on the edge of what I should be pushing and what I don't push, and we don't ever go to it. Well, 2017, we had that early cold front in the evening.
Yep.
And I went in, and that buck, I seen him stand up out of his bed 80 yards away, and I shot him at 10 yards.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a 139 9-inch 9-pointer. He's
Beast
got
mode
big
hunting,
brow.
man. Dan Infalt, be proud.
Literally, it rained. It hard rained till 1. It was soaking wet. The wind was blowing hard, and then it was going to die down. I'm like, if this is when I go, it's right now.
Oh, yeah.
I
All that
snuck
cover?
in there, got in that stand, and I sat down, and I shot him an hour and a half before dark.
That's awesome.
At 10 yards. And,
Right.
And he hit a scrape right. There was a scrape there last year. He hit that scrape.
You
that
talk
thick,
about hunting by design.
Yeah.
I mean, I do feel I go back and forth with this all the time. I do feel like there's definitely an element of luck to hunting.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. I mean, it's a wild animal. It can go wherever it wants. You can try to manipulate it as much as you want, but more times than not, we find ourselves not killing a deer in the shooting lane we plan on killing him in. So I do feel like that, but like stories like that, and if anybody out there is wondering about the hunting beast, you should go check out Dan Infalt's stuff.
Yeah.
Because that dude kills deer
He is a
by
beast, yeah.
design. There's nothing overtly lucky about the way he's hunting. He's hunting a specific deer in a specific way on a specific wind. On a specific temperature and a specific time of year. I mean, everything is calculated, and I think that's really cool when you can be like that person, because everybody knows that person that's got that mega giant deer that they shot 8 years ago on their wall, right? But I think one of the most people that I respect and revere as a hunter the most, his name is Clark Cummings. He's from Knoxville, which is where Garrett and I grew up, and he kills one or two, usually 2 hammers every single year, and he's been doing that for the last decade. So he obviously
Consistency, man.
knows what's going on. So I think when we talk about like what it means to be a good hunter, it is like that killing deer by design and that consistency that takes it to the next level for me. Garrett and I talk about like the acronym. Not the acronym, but the analogy of like a carpenter, right? So everybody knows that resource, that hunting resource. It's that guy that, are you going to trust the carpenter who goes and gets his master's in carpentry and interior design and has written a billion books about building the most beautiful house on planet Earth, but has never built in a house? Or are you going to trust the guy that went and got in his apprenticeship and has built 300 houses? You're going to trust that guy because that guy goes and gets it done.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
That hunting and killing by design, that stuff is always just mind-blowing when it works out the way you draw it up in your head and want it to draw up.
It was insane. Like,
Yeah.
I don't normally do that, right? But in this circumstance, it happened. And I remember telling homie, I called him, I'm like, I'm going to hang a stand in this tree. He's going to hop the fence right here, and I'm going to kill him right here. And that is exactly what happened.
Feels good,
And
man.
it's on film. Like, it can't be denied that
Right.
it happened that way, right? And that's the oldest deer that I think I've killed. The biggest bodied deer that I've killed, weight-wise. He's 235 caped out, no, just meat hanging, 235, right?
Whoa.
The buck I shot this year was 218. He's a 190 inch. He's 218 hanging weight, and he was a 9-pointer. That's not even a 140, and he's 235. But he was giant, right? And it was early October, and you can, I mean, even in the mount, you can see the neck is giant. Early October, it's just old, mature deer, and I rattled him in. I shot Homeboy that year before, and I rattled him in the rut and passed him, and I knew that he was old, but I was after a giant, right? So I let him go, but then I shot him the next year, and I think he was actually a touch smaller than the year before. But to go in there and kill him like that, like you guys are going to do on these kill plots, if you know where they're bedding, you're going to be like, if you're going to run a trail cam on that kill plot, you're going to be like, okay, this deer's bedding here, just like you said,
right?
Just like you killed your buck this year. That was completely by design. And when you can do that, that feels so good, man.
Yeah.
When you're like, I beat this deer. Like, I figured it out. I did everything right. And it don't happen often, but when it does, you're like,
all the work I've been doing.
Yeah. You know, you feel good. You're like, and people that don't understand hunting or don't understand hunting big deer don't get that. They just like, it don't register in their mind. They're like, oh, he just shot another deer. But like you did it. Like what you want to do as a hunter, you did, you know, and won in a season. And if you can accomplish it that early, like I tell homie, every year I shoot a buck early, I feel like I waste so much time because I'm comfortable, right? I'm just like, I shot a buck already.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on a big one to show up on cam. And I told homie I'm not going to do that this year, but then I didn't shoot one early, so it didn't work out anyways. But yeah, I think the kill plots, that's a great idea. I see you guys being successful on that.
So you guys
100%.
were talking about food plots. Do you guys have the ability to put them in? I know you said you were going to implement some.
Yeah.
We have to.
We have to. We have a piece that is the way that we hunt it, we have to add an acre of beans to it for pheasants. It's a pheasant habitat area, so we have to add an acre of beans, and we're going to add I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. I want to do some kind of screen cover with sunflowers because that will revert back to birds, so the landowner has approved that. But I think if I do the sunflowers, I want to go in there and broadcast some turnips or radishes when the sunflowers get to a certain height and basically use those sunflowers as a pinch and leave an opening where we want them to enter into the bean field, right? Sure. And that's the game plan as of right now, but that was part of the stipulation of me and homie getting this piece that's not, it's decent early season, but in the rut, get out of town, dude. I mean, a blind guy could kill a deer there, right? He could kill a 130 there.
But you're also laying the foundation work for late season opportunities too. Now, with your beans, it's not agriculture. You're gonna have to put it in yourself.
It was ag. It's been turned into CRP.
Sure.
Not by anybody. Just over. Well, it was planted 2 years ago in beans. And there's been no one that's planted it in 2 years, no one that's hunted the property in 2 years. And we're going to go back in there and till it and roll plant it with beans.
Do you have a planter?
Well, we have access to one, but we're going to have to pay to get it done.
I would recommend double planting your beans, checkerboard them.
Okay.
You're going to maximize the tonnage in there, and then that's only going to help you because 1 acre of beans, you're probably looking at like 60 to 80 bushels. That's good. You know, and you think about how much, I mean, a deer can eat. I mean, we looked it up. How many pounds can a deer eat a day?
Between 5 and 9
pounds a day. So if you get, let's say you do 10.
I know. I thought that too. I'm like, I was like, well, okay. We're all, Garrett and I each weigh about 210, and we weigh about, eat about a pound per meal. So about 3 pounds. That's what a deer should eat, right? A big buck weighs about what we do in late season. It should eat about 3 pounds, and we're like, whoa. Okay, right. So you see, everybody's seen them drive past on the interstate, wherever, a field with 60, 70, 80 deer in it a night, each clearing out between 5 and 9 pounds. They're moving bushels.
That's a lot of
per
beans.
night.
So that's what we think
right.
when we're putting in our, we think about how many deer we see in late season, and hopefully you guys can do that too. But you take 60 bushels, turn that into 100. Mm-hmm. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's going to be the difference between you being able to hunt that food plot in December or January, so on and so forth. And then with your sunflowers, have you thought about maybe doing like snow peas? They'll climb up your sunflowers.
That's a good idea, yeah.
And then you can also use your brassicas or radishes or turnips when your beans begin to defoliate, when they dry up. broadcast those in. All
Yeah.
you're doing is you're wanting to add as much tonnage to the ground that
That's
you
our
can.
plan. That's our plan, to add as much as we can within the
Parameters that your landowner is giving you. Right.
because it's solely based around pheasants. I mean, there's a ton of pheasants on the ground, and it has to be corn, milo, or beans.
Okay.
So we know that corn is a lot more soil preparation than beans.
Sure.
So we're gonna go with beans the first year.
I would say corn is more hardy though, man.
It is, I know.
I mean, if you ask me, sunflowers or corn, I'd plant your beans in a row of corn, and when your corn matures, rip those ears off so they don't get knocked down by coons.
Yeah.
Just rip them off, throw them on the ground. That's completely legal.
Yeah.
Because you're not displacing the food. Your pheasants are going to eat your corn. Turkeys going to eat your corn. So your
It's a
landowner's happy
solid
about
idea,
that.
yeah.
But a corn will make a much more solid barrier because it's got those long oval-shaped leaves. Sunflowers, I feel like it'll look like a whole bunch of horseweeds standing up.
Yeah. The only thing that I have learned about sunflowers is they are a mega big buck track early season, which you might not think, but I've got footage of giants in daylight eating right off the sunflower pods, man.
Really?
Yes. And I'll
seen
tell you where.
I've seen it.
I'll tell you where after this podcast, because I can't. I
can't
tell
disclose
you.
it on the air.
No, and I'll tell you guys. You might be interested.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah. So that's the plan, and I think the sunflowers. So the beans we're going to be able to control the weeds in, right? The sunflowers we're really not going to
Right.
early. So I'm hoping that the sunflowers mature. There's a lot of ag around it, a ton of ag. There's going to be a ton of beans because it's going to be mostly beans
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that the pressure will be off our little plot
That's what I was just going to say.
on the other beans and on the sunflowers early. That's in my mind what's going to happen. It probably won't, but and then leaving the beans for later, right?
Right.
Because with beans, you're thinking that second shotgun season, that muzzleloader season, that late bow season.
Yep.
You know, that's what you're thinking, right? You're not thinking the early season.
Because everything's going to be picked and ours is going to be standing.
Yeah. That's
right.
Hopefully.
So hopefully that and then it's complete CRP around everything else. So it's going to be like a food plot in CRP. So we're hoping that with
The deer will just freaking
yeah. So I'm
come
hoping
out of the woodwork,
yeah.
man.
So I'm
They'll
hoping
show
the
up like a
sunflowers
mirage.
will. And then being an acre, right? I want to try to use the sunflowers in the weeds to pinch deer. So I want to like leave a gap at
Sure.
30 yards
Sure.
where there's no sunflowers, no weeds, where they can get right to the beans, and right when they come in, they're at 30 yards. That's how it's going to work in my mind. That's not how it's going to work in real life. But then it also gives more coverage from the road because a food plot will be able to be seen from the road.
Ooh.
So I feel like if I have 12 rows of sunflowers with some weeds in them, with brassicas, it'll give a little bit more security cover for something to feed in those beans.
Right.
There's cedars there that hide it from one side of the road. The other side,
But it's 250 yards.
it's a
from the
long
one
way
side,
away from the
yeah.
road, but if someone were to stop,
But I see,
you know,
yeah, break that line of sight up.
break that line of sight and maybe prevent people from seeing what is in there. And then because with just like you guys, with every lease, we're working men, so you have to protect what you have. You know, you don't want everybody to see what you got and the work that you're putting in and the deer you're passing, and then someone come in with more money than you got and say, you know,
Biggest recommendation right now on the air is that if you do sign a lease, get them in 3-year terms.
yeah,
Because like you said, here you guys go in, you do all the work, you set the foundation for the following year, you've passed these young deer, and then somebody lays, 10% down more. Give yourself that cushion and ask that landowner for a 3% or a 3-year lease.
I'm really excited about that piece because we had a 170 daylighting in the rut there, and we got it pinned down, man. There's a creek draw on there, and we're gonna get a stand in there. And it's homie goes, what? I wish I had quotations I could add to this. What are you hanging a cam here for?
Oh, yeah.
What? We're
Yeah.
never gonna get a deer picture here. I said
No.
this is gonna be the best cam we got. He goes, no,
I
four or five mature shooters on there within 5 days during the rut. Just fire. It's just straight fire.
After the first card pull, I was like, all right, this is actually pretty decent.
Try to
you
downplay
can't-
it a little bit.
Yeah, you can't complain about what the pictures are showing you, but
And then the rut hit, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got to get a stand there, man."
Let's get in there now.
Yeah, I was like, is there any way we can get a late season blind up here? You know?
So we're gonna run a mobile set there this year.
Yep.
And we won't be chasing a 190. Maybe. I mean, you never know what's gonna happen, but we won't be chasing 190, so we'll be more focused on that property than the other one, hopefully. And then we got one more in the back burner, and then another one on the back burner. That we're always back burning stuff to try to gain. I look for those really small pieces that no one wants that I know know are money. And I got a couple of those back burners going. So we're at the point now where we're like, I don't know how many leases you guys got, but you got to get to a point where you, like, I know a lot of people, they're like, well, you got to have land to kill big deer, but you get too many options. It's just.
Spread yourself too thin.
Yeah. It just.
I mean, Grant and I talk about it, and you don't want to be greedy with land, but you also want to have, like you said, options. But sometimes, man, you do more harm than good bouncing around.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
You wonder if I'd have just stayed here during this time of the year, you'd have been all right rather than trying to ping pong around.
I guarantee you, if we would have split forces and one of us hunted this piece and one of us hunted the other one, if homie would have hunted the north piece, he'd have killed a buck there. No, hands down, no questions asked. We had one mature deer, daylight, 2 days in a row,
Right.
7, 11, 12, 3 p.m., 6 p.m., just, I mean, on every camera, just running around. Just, I'm like,
hot laps.
Yeah, I'm like, someone needs to kill this deer. I mean, but he'll be bigger next year, right?
I hope.
And then Nike, he's just like all over the place, and he's a crazy weird deer that might blow up next year. I don't know. He might be the same. I hope he's the same because I'm gonna go from a 190 to a 90 incher.
There you go.
He's got just a Nike swish on one antler. It goes out and then goes down and then goes up. It's just a main beam. Just weird.
I hope you find a shed.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
that's one
sick.
thing we thought about that property. It was going to be really good. We had that heavy snow. And like you said, planting that good grass that stands up to snow is really important because that's a flat plateau now. And I literally think there's no deer on it at all.
Yeah.
There might be a few does. We ran trail cameras pretty late there.
Mm.
We had a few does that were using it, but all the bucks migrated south. And when I told homie, I said, "Oh, we're gonna crush the sheds on this piece. Like, I mean, it's 45 acres of CRP and cedars. We're gonna just dominate,
Right.
You know." And I don't think we're going to because the CRP's flat,
Right.
But we're gonna burn 20 acres
20,
of it.
yeah,
We're gonna burn
20.
20-ish acres of it as contract to being able to hunt it. So I'm excited to see what turns up after we burn 20 acres.
Yeah.
Of it. So
We
want to get
about 10 or 20 of them buried underneath that thick CRP.
We want to
That's where I
get
found this one.
drone. We want to get a drone before we burn that field. So
Well, you know somebody that has one.
I know we talked to someone about that already. We were like, man, we need some drone
So
shots.
much stuff to go.
So much stuff to buy.
You'd be surprised what a case of beer would do.
I'll get like 3, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So on the list here, we had entrance and exit plans. That's kind of huge on me. Like that's like one of my number one taxes. Homie is learning how I hunt, and he questions it a lot, which is good, right? Because I feel like if you're not getting questions, you're not growing.
Right.
So homie's like, I wouldn't do that. And then I think about it, and I'm like, well, I'm going to do it my own way. But I think about it, right? I think about it, which is good. So I want to see, like, what do you think your guys' exit and entrance, what are you guys going to plan to do that? Or what would be your perfect exit and entrance to a stand or a blind?
Well, this year we're in a pretty cool spot with one of the companies we work with. So Pradco Brands, which is Moultrie, Nightingale, Summit, and Code Blue, just recently acquired Whitetail Institute. And Garrett and I found out about this
Nice.
at the ATA show. They acquired another company as well. We're not going to really dabble with that company as much, but they acquired Whitetail Institute, which makes a screen. So last year, Garrett and I planted, what was it called?
It's called Blind Spot by Mossio.
Yeah,
Blind Spot by
I've heard of
Mossio.
Blind Spot, yeah.
But that really got hammered when we got that big, wet, heavy snow this year. So we're looking for something more hardy that's going to stand up to that late snow, specifically like the wet, heavy, big flaked snow that's just
High
going to
wind
pile and
stuff,
pile and
right.
pile and pile and be really heavy. So they came out with the product. I forget what it's called, but it's sorghum based, so it's just fat stemmed
Yeah,
sorghum.
that sorghum is no
gets
joke.
up to like 8 or 10 feet
Yeah.
tall, and it's a lot more hardy. So, in terms of hunting on food plots, we're going to have entry and exit strategies to and from our blinds and all the plots that we're going to be hunting this year. Like Garrett said, one of our main objectives on all of our farms is to get that exit and entry strategy so that deer almost don't even question the fact that there's humans even around or in the vicinity. So other than the trail camera and an occasional ladder stand that they walk by, they have no idea that we're even on the premises. So planning that, those screens are going to be really big, especially because late season, everybody's hunted a food plot before where there's 20, 30, 40 deer feeding in it. And you're the guy that opens up the door and you try to walk down the stairs as quietly as you can, but as soon as your foot hits that crunchy snow or that leaf or that twig, then you see 20, 30 whitetails flying and running away. So nobody really likes that feeling. So that's one of our objectives. Our other one is, and we've been doing this for probably the better part of a decade, and it's kind of tedious and it's annoying, and it involves going to the stand about 30 minutes extra for about a 2-week span as all the leaves are dropping, but we rake the spots so that we're just stepping on bare earth. So when we go in the mornings, because I don't think anything's worth, everybody has those mornings and it's just pin drop quiet and you're just
Yeah. Oh, I hate those mornings.
crunching
like
on
that,
those
yeah.
leaves that have fallen and they're all dried up, and every deer within the whole county you feel like hears you. So we go in and rake those in our afternoon sits on the way in. So that way in the following morning, and we try to keep up with that religiously so that the following morning when we're sneaking in there, and we try to get in there a good hour before first light, so we're not cutting it close by any means, but to rake those up, it gives us a lot more, I guess, of a sound cover. So that's something that we, I guess, continually do to make ourselves, I guess, put in a position to get that first light movement a little bit more.
Yeah.
What kind of rake are you guys using?
Just a regular
Just a
leaf
regular
rake.
plastic yard
Yep.
rake?
Yep.
Well, not even. It's like a little kitty jobber. Just
Okay.
easier to bring in. You know what I mean?
One hander.
Yep. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, the property that we're talking about where our food plot is, there is a cedar tree like line that you can't even see through.
Perfect.
So we're gonna be able to go behind that. But I had to call three people and then ask permission from the person that hunts the south to get the access from the east or from the west that we need to hunt that piece. But we got it. But it was it was a lot, but we got it. But that's what it takes, right?
Right.
You got to do all that extra effort, and that's why I keep telling homie, I'm like, when you're hunting a small piece, 2 guys going in and out, filming, exit and entrance is
Right.
that's everything. And homie's like, why don't we have a stand over there? I'm like, well, it's too deep. And he's like, yeah, it's too deep. So yeah, but it just, you would kill more deer. We'd kill more deer if we were there, but we'd also bump more deer off.
Right.
So you have to,
Which is a lesser of two evils.
yeah, you have to pick and choose your battles.
Bro, you tell me a lot. You say you tell me a lot.
I do tell you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Anything else you guys want to cover?
No, I just again appreciate you having us on.
Yeah,
it's a great
man,
time.
it's been a
Love hanging
blast,
out with you
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun talking to you guys. We learned a lot, and we appreciate you guys making the drive all the way over here to hang out with us. So,
No problem.
all right, guys. Oh man, this was a good one. I feel like we came hard with the funny and the good times at the beginning,
Right.
and then we talked a little filming, and then we really got into some really good content towards
So,
the end.
Really
that-
good tactics.
Yeah, that kind of bouncing back and forth with each other of what we should do on our properties and learning from them, and that's something that we can really do. And one thing I want to say about Last Breath TV and Grant and Garrett, if you ever want to reach out to them guys and ask a question or something, there are some genuinely good people, and they will help you. And
Yeah.
we've seen that firsthand. We've created an awesome friendship from going to their launch party. So we're excited about that, to extend that friendship this year and just continue the legacy with Last Breath TV.
And, as you guys watch their film, and, you should, it'll definitely help you as a hunter. And every time I talk to anybody from that team, nobody's a better hunter than anybody else on that team. They're all super great hunters, and I feel like everybody on that team's a better hunter than me. And every time I talk to any of them, I learn something.
Yeah, me too.
That's going to help me be better in the whitetail woods. So, reach out to them on any platform, and just have a conversation and see what you can learn.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like every time we talk to them, we learn something. They're genuine guys. They're humble. Yeah, and gal. They're humble because we definitely know that they're better whitetail hunters than us, right? They're getting it done year after year. We know that, but they're still humble enough to say, hey, we're normal guys just like you, but this is what we do to make you better. And I think they're perfect for kind of our outline of the podcast, that the demographic that we're chasing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of the people that we want to find out there. This is like what we want in a nutshell. So check them out on YouTube, Last Breath TV, Carbon TV, anywhere that you can find them. Their YouTube is so full of content. You guys can just flooded it. Just flood it. And I mean, they have some incredible stories and some incredible hunts on there.
And some big deer.
Yeah, and some giant deer. So check that out, plus turkeys and antelope and everything. And then if you are around this area and you want Last Breath launch party tickets, let us know.
Yeah.
We will get you there, and with a Whitetail Legacy t-shirt, possibly.
Yeah.
So
you're going to have to hit us both up.
Yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed Last Breath. We definitely enjoyed having them on. I wish we could do 5-6 episodes with them because we had the content to do it. If we recorded the whole time they were here,
we would have had it.
They were here. I mean, shout out to them. They were here for 4.5 hours just hanging out with us and talking deer and industry and learning and friendship, A
little bit of film, too.
Yeah, a little film. So, all right, guys, get out there, find some sheds, try to leave a legacy. Whitetail Legacy is out.